Have you ever felt like you're just there, present, but not really prominent? That was Marcus, a financial analyst living a life so calculated it could be plotted on a spreadsheet. Gray apartment, predictable schedule, a clean, forgettable cologne. He was the guy you'd call reliable, competent, but never memorable. He existed in the periphery, and he preferred it that way. Attention meant expectations, and expectations meant the risk of failure. It was safer to be invisible, but a quiet pressure was building. A feeling that he was living someone else's idea of a life, and had forgotten to have his own. Then, his father passed away. At the funeral, hearing his father described with the same hollow words, quiet, dedicated, responsible, Marcus saw a chilling reflection of his own future. He was building the exact same existence. A life that was functional, but not truly lived. The fear that bloomed in that moment didn't fade. It followed him home. A constant whisper that this couldn't be all there was. A few weeks later, his mother brought over a box of his father's things. At the bottom, wrapped in yellowed tissue paper, was a heavy glass bottle of cologne. No label. Just a small card tied to the neck in his father's handwriting. For when you're ready to be seen. The scent was nothing like the safe, clean fragrances Marcus knew. It was dark, rich, complex. It smelled like depth, like everything he'd spent his life avoiding. For 3 days, he just looked at it. On the 4th day, he wore it, and everything began to change. The barista he saw every morning suddenly saw him, her smile a genuine acknowledgement. At work, his manager, who'd barely noticed him for 6 years, pulled him aside and gave him the kind of high-stakes client-facing project he'd always been invisible for. People started listening when he spoke, not just waiting for him to finish. He found himself speaking with a confidence that came from nowhere he could identify. The changes weren't just professional. His girlfriend noticed too. "You single, present," she said one night. "I feel like I'm having dinner with a real person." Their relationship, once a performance, began to crack open into something honest and real. Strangers started conversations. Colleagues invited him out. He was no longer on the periphery. He was part of the story. The fragrance wasn't magic. It couldn't create a personality. But it acted as a signal. A permission slip. A frequency that changed how people perceived him, and more importantly, how he perceived himself. It was a bridge from the man he was to the man he was capable of being. His mother later told him the story of the cologne. She'd given it to his father for their 20th anniversary. He'd said it was too much for him and put it away. His father, she explained, had always regretted playing it safe, living his life as a rough draft. The note, for when you're ready to be seen, wasn't an instruction, it was hope. A father's wish that his son would find the courage he never had. The cologne wasn't changing Marcus. It was revealing him. It was giving him permission to take up space, to be substantial, to risk being seen. Eventually, he tested himself, going a day without it. And he realized the change was real. He was still seen. The transformation had become a part of him. Some inheritances are objects. The most valuable ones are invisible. They're the ones that teach you how to live instead of just exist. The ones that show you the difference between being alive and just being present. That's the gift his father gave him, wrapped in amber glass. Real transformation often happens in silence, a slow accumulation of small shifts that add up to an entirely different life. One where being seen isn't a fear, but an embrace. Thanks for watching.